Greetings and welcome, folks. Welcome to Untitled Space Game. I'm Jim Ryan. I use he/him pronouns, and this is our Scum and Villainy campaign. I see that a couple of things didn't translate over as we're using a new overlay, so I'm going to try to, even though it was working a few seconds ago, so I'm going to try desperately to scramble about and fix it in the background whilst all this is going on, so that you will perhaps be able to see things. But in the meantime, in this game, I am playing Coil Dyson, who is the somewhat harried mechanic, who is attempting to figure out various physics puzzles with relation to the massive ship in which they are currently inhabiting. And let's go around and say hi to everybody, see who they are and who they're playing. Starting once again with Alyssa. Hello.
Hello. My name is Alyssa. I play Gavesha Iris Lutess, the suspiciously perky mystic, and I aim to misbehave.
Fair enough. Fair enough. This is the time to do it. And now let us head over to Brittany. Hello.
Hi, I'm Brittany. I use she/her pronouns, and I am playing the Stitch of the ship, Dr. Mav Wilo, anarchist psychiatrist.
Awesome. And now over to Josh. Hello.
Hi, I'm Josh, he/him. I am playing Quirk, the pilot for the ship. I am a bug-eyed alien, and I'm just trying to make a gosh darn living with this whole thing.
That is important. Are not we all, in some fashion? Excellent. And now I shall hand things over to our GM, Brian. Hello.
Hey, I'm Brian. I use he/him pronouns. I'm playing everyone else. And so we wrapped up last session with a job, and the job was complete and successful, which is a nice combination. And on top of that, we also managed to take care of the payout. We did some advancement, and we took care of just about everything except for downtime. We did payoff and upkeep. We did heat. We did entanglements. So the next thing we are going to do, or technically the next two things we're going to do, are do what is called the crew advancement. And the crew advancement is everyone, well, first off, you've got enough experience points as a crew to do a crew advancement, which means you can choose a new thing for the ship, or you can increase your crew quality. You got a couple of other options there as well. So does everyone have access to the ship sheet over in Roll20? Because if you want to choose a new special ability, all of the special abilities are on the ship sheet. If you're interested in upgrading any of your other stuff, like a system, you can have two of those for the price of the crew advancement. Or you can increase your crew quality. If you increase your crew quality, it also costs some cred. And so if you do want to do that, I can look up the amount. But as a reminder, the crew quality is a sort of nebulous thing that can help put you on a more even footing with the more powerful factions. The maximum crew quality that you can get does not reach the maximum that a faction can be. So unlike Blades in the Dark, you will never be as powerful as the most powerful factions. But you can narrow the gap a little bit, or make yourself actually, even as a crew, roughly as powerful as some of the smaller factions. So that is something to think about and to discuss. And also, we don't have to do this in any specific order. Also, while you're discussing that and while you're thinking about what you need to do, each PC gets 2 downtime actions. And by the same token, we also don't have to do those in any specific order. If you look over on the Roll20 sheet, or not the Roll20 sheet, but the actual Roll20 game, the list of downtime actions should be up on the sheet. You may have to scroll around because it's kind of big. But that gives you the basics on what your options are. I will tell you, Indulge Vice and Lay Low, and let's see, Recover are none of you got injured, so you don't need Recover. Your heat, more to the point, your wanted level is 0 for everything. You've got a couple of heat in one system, so you're doing okay there. So Lay Low's not really a thing you need to worry about. I don't think any of you accrued enough stress to make Indulge Vice worth it, but for the record, when you do want to release some stress, Indulge Vice is the thing you will do. But the reason it's dangerous to do that when your stress is really low is if you roll higher than the amount of stress that you have, you overindulge, which means something bad happens. It doesn't necessarily literally mean you overindulge in your vice, but it does mean, it's just a catch-all term to state that something bad happened while you were pursuing your vice. And we can come up with narratively whatever that means. But right now, I don't think anybody has more than 2 or 3 stress, if I'm remembering right. Yeah, so I think the maximum anyone had was 3. So you could do it, but you also risk like 50% of the rolls that you make will trigger an overindulgence. So maybe not right now. So just want to let you know it's an option. The big ones are, now you do have to make some repairs because 2 of your systems are injured. Your comm system got injured, and hull. So you have one basically 1 mark of damage in each of those systems. Now, narratively, it makes the most sense for your mechanic to do the repair, but it doesn't have to be. Any of you can use a downtime action to affect the repair. And it will cost 1 cred per mark you want to knock off. So right now, it'll cost you, in order to get your ship back up to literal ship shape, you will need to spend 2 downtime actions and 2 cred, because it's 1 cred, 1 downtime action for each one of those you need to fix. So, and your ship does have cred, by the way, so you can spend it from the ship store of cred. You don't have to spend it from your own cred. And I'd recommend that because your ship store of cred right now is maxed out, and you don't have a vault. And we didn't talk about the vault, but if you have more than 4 cred in your ship and you don't have a vault, you basically just have to distribute the rest of that amongst the crew, which, not a big deal. But if you really want to start storing cred in your ship, you'll have to get a vault for that. So right now, spending 2 cred out of your ship's a good idea because it'll free it up for more later. And then the other stuff that you can do. Oh, another thing I want to state. The list of downtime actions that are here these are the things that cost downtime actions. When we're in the downtime phase, anything else you do is basically just free action. Meaning, I want to go talk to this person, or I want to, literally anything you do that's not on this list doesn't cost a downtime action, and you just get to do it, and you tell me that you do it. And if it requires any role playing, we handle that. So that's, if anybody want to talk to each other or talk to someone else or do anything along those lines, if it doesn't fit in the list of downtime stuff, you're free to do it. We're in sort of free play mode on that one. Now, does anyone need any more information about any of this? For example, like the specific ship upgrades that are not special abilities. Does everyone have access to that list? Because that's kind of a big list.
I thought I had it somewhere. I'm gonna make sure I can find it.
Yeah, where is that at? That modules and upgrades?
Yeah, modules and upgrades.
All right. Where are we downtiming at again?
That is an excellent question. As I recall, I think you ended up in
Iota?
You did. You ended up in Iota.
System?
The heat that you accrued was in Breck, but the last place you were is Iota. Now that doesn't mean you have to spend your downtime there. You may choose any system you want. And even heading back to Breck, a couple of heat's not going to be a big deal if you head back to Breck if you for some reason want to do that. So if you want to just stay in Iota, that's fine. But if there's another place you'd prefer to be, go for it.
What's Iota's deal again? What's the elevator pitch on Iota?
Let me remember exactly what the deal is with that, and I'll give you the rundown. Hang on. Here we are. Yeah, Iota has shipyards. It has this thing called the Belt of Fire. That is pretty much what it sounds like. You don't want to try to fly through that. The main planets there are Amarath, which is a planet largely known for producing a lot of pharmaceuticals, which I know that a couple of you would be familiar with for various reasons. And it's also kind of a jungle planet. It's got a lot of just enormous plant life all over the place. Then there's Indri, which is manufacturing planet, and it is you were actually on Indri briefly. This is the place that you go when you want to you can basically buy just about anything there, but if you don't have some sort of breathing apparatus, you can suffer actual harm because the air is so polluted. And then there's the ice planet of Lithios, and it is a deeply weird place. If you spend too much time there, you may find yourself wandering out into the frozen wastes, heeding the call of the ice sirens.
I mean, who doesn't feel the need to do that every now and then?
Don't threaten us with a good time.
I mean,
I shall
in
not go there.
moderation. Yeah.
We are a deeply weird crew, remember?
You are, in fact, a weird crew. You're not wrong. So the good news is that just about anything you would want to do for your downtime can be done in Iota, specifically on Amarath or Indri. And it would be... and we can assume that you have some breathing gear. It's not like I'm going to, make you... Yeah, that it's a thing that... And anyone normally going to Indri would have just your basic sort of hostile environment suit.
I'm assuming there has to be like habitats that have sealed systems.
Yeah. Some of the larger ones do have their own atmospheres and filters, which are changed really frequently.
Gotcha.
If they're doing it right.
So the ship, we can get one crew upgrade or two.
You can get one special ability.
Okay.
Or two system upgrades.
Systems upgrades, that's the hull, engines.
That's right. Yeah, okay. Comms and weapons. So one advance equals two of those. You're currently maxed out on hull, but everything else is up for grabs.
Dig it.
Yeah.
And I think those are your only choices. Let me make sure I'm not leaving anything out. I think that's got it.
Oh, right.
Does anyone...
Sorry, go ahead.
Does anyone have any strong opinions, ship-wise?
In terms of special abilities, both leverage and problem solvers looks appealing.
I like the home cooking one myself, but those are...
Where are the special abilities?
Easiest place... Yeah, easiest place to find those is the start answer sheet on Roll20.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That problem solvers is nice.
Oh, hang on, I was mistaken. two ship
Nice.
upgrades, meaning any 2 boxes amongst ship modules or crew/ship upgrades, or 1 ship quality. The ship quality is the comms, engines, hull, and weapons. But the 2 ship upgrades are basically the other stuff, if you see what I mean. And those should be on the sheet as well. So
the crew, that's fake ship papers, auxiliary ship gear, all that stuff.
those are the ones. Yes. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to mislead you.
How do we get special abilities? Is that on the menu?
Yeah, the special abilities are also on the sheet, on the start answer sheet.
Okay, I mean, is that
So
one?
Oh, sorry, that's just 1. Yeah.
Okay, so 1 special ability, 1 system, or 2 ship
Or 2 of
crew
the
upgrades.
Exactly. That is right.
Gotcha. Okay.
And for example, you'll notice that Thrill Seekers costs 3. So that would be one that if you wanted to get that, you'd have to build up to it.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I see how you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, see the number of boxes. So
Yeah.
Lucky Charm, if you wanted to spend both of them on Lucky Charm, those would be your 2 ship upgrades. Whereas the other stuff would be your hull or your engines or your weapons and comms.
Gotcha.
Shields might not be a terrible idea.
Yeah. I want to ask something that actually is just like narratively.
Yeah.
This is what is this thing? So the discussion I would like to initiate is, what is this thing? And then, do we want to turn this thing into something mechanically, or shall we leave it dangling about strangely, which I'm perfectly fine with as well.
Fine.
And that is that, so something that I just sort of did last time just because I was looking for a thing to talk about at the beginning was the idea that we have a thing that jams signals, a signal jammer of some kind, which we have not fully integrated into our ability to use as of yet.
Right.
Because, like narrative, because we've been busy doing a job. And what I'm wondering is that a thing that we want to represent mechanically? And, or would we rather just leave it as a nebulous potential plot device?
It seems we would have more freedom of using it more often if we nailed it down mechanically.
But at the same time, I don't even know if there's an analog for it mechanically.
Yeah, that's
because that was I just like said a thing, so I don't know if that's.
Yeah, I'm looking through the stuff now. Now the good news is we could just make that up.
Yeah, that seems like it'd probably fit under comms or something.
Yeah, it'd be a comms. It'd be a comms upgrade.
Space right there.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We just type it in. I am seeing if they have anything specifically. I'm not seeing anything in the rule book specifically addressing that.
Why don't we
But
just
yeah.
pick up the blank space and just say that it's that, and then
Signal jammer?
the idea is that by the way this ship
Comms module.
jams
Here we
someone's
go.
signal is by negating a portion of reality. No, never mind.
Oh, wow.
There's nothing here. It's just empty space.
No,
Untitled space.
Aha!
Roll credits.
I knew that would work in somewhere.
Like
But
tiny wormholes that are just big enough for radio waves to go through and just zip them off on the other side of the universe.
Oh my god!
Directed
What could go
wormhole
wrong?
radio jammer.
What could possibly go wrong with that? Yeah,
Where did we find the ship again?
I think it found us. I think that's part of the problem.
That's not comforting.
And obviously, I don't want to try to hog all of our time just trying to figure out this tiny thing that I came up with, but I just was wondering if it's...
Well, it is. I mean, it's a good question, and it's a legitimate question, and it is not even something that we have to decide right now. By which I mean like mechanicalize. But I think we've already figured out how to do it. It's just a matter of whether you want to spend your your advancement on that this time.
Right.
Because otherwise, we can just assume that it's an available comms module. And honestly, the ship has already on its own done some things that aren't on your sheet. So I mean, that's just part of the weirdness of the ship. So in my opinion, as Josh pointed out, if you put points into it, you'll have control over it. As it is right now, it's just a thing that might work and it might not, and the ship might decide when it wants to do it and in what manner, and do it that way. So, which is, sometimes more fun. So however you want to work that, that's cool. But I like the fact that we've decided it's on the ship. It's just whether or not it's you have full use of it yet. I think that's really what we're figuring out.
I think the closest thing to it would be under. I'm now actually looking at modules and upgrades, and I feel like the closest thing it would be like quantum encryptor.
Yeah, I was looking at that too, but that's honestly that's for your data, which would be good to have. But in this case, I think it's its own thing that we just have to make up.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's fine. I also have no idea where this blank space is that we've been talking about.
It's on the sheet. If you look at comms, like at the top.
Oh, okay.
Right
there
beneath
it is.
Quantum encryptor.
Yep.
Oh, okay. There.
Oh,
it is.
yeah.
Fake
So it is.
transponder, quantum
That
encryptor.
is exactly right.
Blank. Okay,
Yeah.
I understand.
And a blank spot. And I need to double check what your comms max is. I think it's.
I mean, it's one more system for me to break when I'm using my special
know.
abilities.
That's exactly right. Yeah. You've got one more thing to knock off.
To be fair, if we want, if we want to purchase a blank thing that could be just a thing that bends reality, I'd like to get that under weapons or engines. One of those two would be awesome. But
Agreed.
We're using Untitled Space right now.
Basically.
There's your long-term project.
Yeah. Hey.
And that actually does play into a thing that I'm going to end up doing, just sort of as
reality
a character.
spoofer.
Yeah, there's some stuff he's going to try to investigate about the ship that may unlock horrifying dimensions. We'll see.
This actually does open up a different but related topic. One of the downtime things that you can do is called acquire asset. And acquire asset is a temporary thing, meaning you'll basically just have it for one job. And so if there is a thing that you want that you haven't spent, an advancement on, but you'd really like it for this job, spend a downtime action to acquire that asset, and at least you've got it for that time. Gotcha. And then later on, it can become permanent if you want to do it that way. Then there's craft, and that is the thing that you can do if you want to actually build a thing that does become permanent. That can be something for your ship. That could also be personal equipment that any of you use. Just if it makes sense for you to try to build a thing. That's basically what it boils down to.
Did we get individually credits last time, or was that just put on the ship?
You also got some of your own credits. The ship has 4 credits right now, and each of you got, was it 1 or 2? I think you've updated your actual character sheets with them.
It was one to each. One to each crew member, and then the rest was given to the ship. And
that's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
One was used to repair.
Did we? I guess I must have started out with none then, because I have 1 on my sheet now.
You probably. I think everyone started out with at least 1, didn't you? Or am I wrong about that?
I don't think we actually covered how much individual cred we'd be starting with.
That is a good point. Let me look that up while you're discussing this other stuff. So we'll end this downtime session knowing how much you should have.
Ah, okay. What do we want to do?
I like either the signal jammer or the problem solvers. I think the problem solver has more immediate mechanical utility
I would agree with that with problem solver.
+1 action rating to helm, rig, or scramble.
Which does seem useful. You're not wrong.
Yeah. Is that only while we're on the ship?
It's not. It is.
Oh.
It is anytime you want to use those skills.
Oh ho.
Yeah. It's broad. It's
That
nice.
is.
Yeah.
That is much
That's
more
handy.
useful than originally presented.
Yeah. In it though, it's actually pretty good. Yeah.
We also have the excuse of things being like, oh, well, how did you learn electrical wiring? Just being like, the ship told me.
Yeah.
In my
That's true.
dreams.
In my dreams.
Yeah. Where is problem solver? I'm sorry. I don't know
Last
anything.
special ability
Special
on
ability.
the
Oh,
start
there it is.
answer sheet.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Each room add 1 action. Oh, that is good. I forget what an action rating is, but it looks delightful.
That's your
How
dots
many
and your
dots
actions.
you have, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Just it gives you more dice to roll on those things.
Okay.
All right.
I will learn this system one day, probably on the last session.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, me too. So. All right.
Are we going to go with problem solvers then?
Works for me.
And that's our. What are we spending to get that?
Our ship upgrade.
Our ship upgrade. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
Is that consensus?
All right. If people are good with that, I'll go ahead and
Suppose it
update the
is.
sheet with that. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit problem solvers. Whoops. I'm going to try hitting problem solvers. There we go. That's going to turn it blue.
Pow, take that, problem solvers.
And hang on. If I remember right, I
I
think
think
I
we come
can.
around here solving our problems for us.
How dare you?
It's all right to screw up.
Right. I thought I could move those. That's weird. All right. Well, anyway, the good news is you've got field repairs and problem solvers now. And now is the time for everyone to decide what your. Well, I say your 2 downtime actions. You can actually have more than 2 downtime actions if you spend a cred per extra downtime action. So if there's more stuff you want to do and you feel okay spending the cred on it, go for that too. I can move them. I just remembered how to do it. Okay, so next time you look at the sheet, problem solvers will be the second one on the list because I'm just trying to keep the stuff that you have up at the top. All right, so that's good for problem solvers. I do like that one. Yeah. But yeah, helm, rig, or scramble. And again, that's only up to a max of 3. So if you've already got 3 in any of those, it will not increase your action rating on those. And does everyone know how to update your sheets with the new action ratings for helm, rig, and scramble?
Do we choose
I'm
one
sorry,
or do we get all?
You just choose one. So you get to choose helm, rig, or scramble, but everyone is not required to choose the same thing.
Let's go all in on helm for me.
Yeah, that kind of that fits, right?
Yeah, it puts
I'm
me at
gonna
3.
take a dot in helm just in
Nice.
case.
Okay. That's good. You can back up your buddy Quirk. Yeah.
I did rig because it seemed like the brainier option.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
I will now increase my rig to 3.
Dang. So you have a badass pilot and a badass mechanic. That's really good. And more to the point, the other crew members can like back you up, which is really good.
I have 1s in everything else that I have anything in.
That ain't bad. Well, that ain't bad unless you have to roll in one of those. But even then, you got some options. Okay. So I'm still looking up the cred thing, but anybody have any plans for? Oh, we also did upkeep. We actually spent some of the money that you got on upkeep, so you're good on upkeep. And that's just general ship maintenance. And if you skip an upkeep, during downtime, it could lead to bad things for your ship later. But you didn't, so you're good. So the only two things that you, in quotes, must do, which is not, I mean, you could leave your ship damaged, but the obvious choices are to spend a couple of those on your repair. And because none of you are in particularly dire straits on a lot of your other stuff, like you don't have a whole lot of choices, which means that actually you've got some pretty cool things you can do. Now, let me mention the training thing first before I go any further. When you train in an attribute, and the differences between attributes and skills is attributes. You only have 3 attributes, so those are insight, prowess, and resolve. And if you look at your character sheet, your score in each of your attributes is the number of dots to the left of the line that is under that attribute, if you see what I mean. For example, well, they should already be filled in. If you have a 1 in something, then that's your first dot.
Yeah, each of the skills falls under one of those attributes.
Right. So as an example, I'll just use quirk because I have your sheet open. You have a 3 in prowess because you have helm, scramble, and scrap marked as skills that you have, which means your prowess is 3 because you have 3 dots on the left of that line. Gotcha. By the same token, your resolve and your insight are each 1 because again you have 1 dot on each of those. But like if you bumped up your rig, you would still have a 1 in insight because you've only got 1 skill within that attribute.
Right.
And the reason I bring that up is, if you wish to train, you can basically mark 1 XP, and in this case, that just means you mark one of those blocks beside the attribute on that little line. Mm-hmm. You spend a downtime, and you mark 1 XP per downtime action spent on that attribute, unless, of course, you are doing insight, because your ship has a bonus for insight training, and that means you get 2 XP per downtime action when you train on insight. So because this would be the first time any of you were doing it, none of you would immediately bump anything up. But it would be sometimes it's just kind of a nice default. If nothing else, I'll go ahead and train in something. And you can do it that way. Another thing I've seen people do, and I kind of like this, is if you just literally don't have an idea of what you want to spend one or either of your downtime actions on, you can hold them and use them during play as flashbacks. You can say, oh, well, actually, back when we were in the IOTA system, I acquired this asset. And then you mark it off, and if we need to role play it, we role play it. And there's a role associated with it. So we would make that roll, and then it would be kind of a no stress flashback to show that you had the foresight to acquire just exactly the thing you need. So you're not required to spend them all right now if you don't have an idea for it. And if we get too far into a thing, and you realize, oh, I really should have trained, or I wanted to do this other thing, there's no reason we can't retrofit that too. But this sort of official downtime period is a good time to discuss all that and see how people want to use their stuff.
So going back to the training.
Yeah.
Do we get another dot in an action when we fill out that bar then?
That's right.
Okay. Groovy. Well, do we want to spend the creds to repair the ship first?
Yeah, you'll need to do that, and basically you'll need to decide which of you is using the downtime action or actions to do the repairs. But I'll go ahead and mark the 2 cred off your ship sheet.
I'll use one of my actions to do it.
Okay. Hey, you are the pilot. That kind of fits.
Yeah.
All right, so let's knock that one off, and right here. Okay, so now your ship is down to 2 cred, which is not bad. Okay.
Yeah. I'm probably going to... I'm sorry, I'm trying to read a thing and figure a thing out at the same time whilst doing trigonometry, apparently.
That's rough.
So, I should probably... We had 2 things we needed to fix. I should probably go ahead and spend a downtime fixing the other.
Okay, so one of you fixes the comms, the other one takes care of the hull, so no problem on that. And narratively, you can come up with any reason. I mean, given the characters that you are, it may well be that, each of you just went out and bought the parts and fixed it yourselves, because both of you know rig, and either of you should be able to do the repairs. But it could also be, I took it to took it to this other person and they fixed it. So however you want to work it.
I am gonna roll it into my insight training.
Nice.
My second action. So
like that.
I've got Greg over my shoulder on like a DRD unit, just telling me, okay, the Ulfire wire into the dome socket.
Absolutely. And so yeah, that definitely counts as insight training. So yeah, that's perfect. And that also kind of helps answer your rig boost from earlier too. So actually, you did helm. That's right. But that all makes sense. Okay, so that's so those are both of your downtime actions.
Mm-hmm.
And just remember, since it's insight, mark 2 instead of 1 on your sheet. And so that's Josh is clear of downtime. Now, having said that, if there's anything else you want to do that isn't covered by downtime, also do that, because it's literally that. It's literally a time between jobs.
I'm gonna look around.
I'll let you know about some jobs you find, but that'll come later.
I'm gonna look around the station, try and see if there's any more Madarch here.
Yeah.
Right. That I can just gossip with.
That's a good idea. What do Madarch communities usually look like on when they're off planet?
A lot of found families with non-Madarch, but because we kind of travel from our off planet. But when they get together, it is it's a lot of it's like a lot of busybody gossiping, like a cultural coffee clatch. Just
absolutely got it. Okay,
because we're a communal species without any actual strong biological ties to familial units. Yeah,
good point. But everybody's got clutch mates, right?
Yes.
So you've got a line on what's happening in other systems, which is cool. Okay. Well, in that case, that makes sense. That might be one of the ways that you find out about 1 or 2 of these jobs that are coming up.
Right.
So that just makes sense. Okay. I'll get back to you on that, but you definitely do find some more. You hear the familiar and unmistakable tones of your native language.
Yes. We think humans are hilarious.
It's a lot of people watching.
Look at that one.
Yeah.
Throwing genetic material at each other. It's disgusting, right?
That's pretty good. Okay. Anybody else got any ideas?
Well, since nobody needs my help with repairs, I guess I'm just going to train.
Okay. In which attribute?
I think I wanna. I think I wanna train in resolve.
Okay.
Because that'll eventually bump up my attunement. And
that makes a lot of sense. I gotcha. Yeah, that checks out. Okay. So yeah, you can spend 1 downtime action for 1 increase in resolve. And yeah, that's true. That is a good way to get your attune up to 3 if you're heading in that direction.
Yeah.
And you still have a second one. If you don't know what it is yet, that's cool. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah. Not sure yet, because we don't know what our next job is going to be. So I might hold on to my second one to see if I need to acquire an asset.
That's a good point. Well,
like
I can go ahead and mention some of the jobs as well while you're all figuring out what else you want to do in case you want to use that for that. That is not a problem. Okay. In that case, I need to look up something over here, and I will do that while I am muttering to myself.
A lot of that going on tonight. I'm actually going to do the same. I'm going to train in resolve.
Okay.
Because I want to be a better liar.
I like it.
And then I'm holding the second action just in case we need a asset or something later.
No problem. All right. Very cool. Okay. Okay, let me get over here then. And got it. And I just have to copy something real quick. So yeah, that is a good point. So in this case, Quirk, yeah, you probably hear about a couple of these jobs just from your fellow mid-arch.
Mm-hmm.
And let's get this over here. Let's see, who has friends that are likely to be providing? Oh, Gavesha, which planet did we decide your contact was on? The one with the cool way toys?
I don't remember.
I don't either, but hang on, let me look at the system. Honestly, I don't think it's the system. I think it was the last one you were not the. I think it was where you started last time, if I remember right. But let me double check. Yeah, hang on. It was the same one with the. He was in the Rin system because that was where you started. That's right.
Yeah.
And I think he was on Warren. Okay, got it. I'm just making sure I have everything right. So in that case, Quirk, the two that you find out about that are the most promising leads, one of your sort of cousins, as it were, actually knows about a couple of them that they were not able to get involved in because they were busy doing some other stuff, is what it boils down to. So the first one rings a couple of bells because you suspect it might be actually related to the one that you just left. So the planet that you were orbiting initially, where you picked up the package, that would have been Aleph. Mm-hmm. That one, apparently, a precursor ship crashed probably millennia ago onto that planet. And it's only recently been discovered because of increased seismic activity in an area. Problem is, of course, that it's a super hostile environment. But apparently the Maelstrom, and keep in mind the Maelstrom are right now pretty friendly with you, are interested in someone to get a specific thing off of that and bring it to them.
The space pirates, right?
Yeah, those are the pirates.
Gotcha.
The other one is similarly related, because, yeah, okay, this is the Procyon sector, and the Procyon sector is always active as far as someone's always got a grudge against someone else. And as such, the different factions do a whole lot of kind of sniping at each other back and forth. There is this group of criminals and assassins called the Ashen Knives, and they are regularly stepping on the toes of the Cobalt Syndicate, and vice versa. They have a whole lot of things. They're both kind of trying to get the same turf, is what it boils down to. And because of that, they're both really busy trying to get one up on the other one, but that means they're watching each other really closely. So money could be made by sneaking weapons and supplies to one of the members of that particular conflict.
Friends with the syndicate right now.
That's true. You are very friendly with the syndicate right now. So along with the other gossip about what the hilarious humans are doing with their facial hair and stuff, you also get a couple of tidbits that you might be able to follow up on for some money.
Yeah.
And by the same token, Gavesha, you get a message from your contact, which is not unusual. You guys communicate back and forth a lot. Sometimes it's like, hey, I found this thing. Next time you're, in system, come check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's, if you see a thing like this, bring it to me, stuff like that.
Sure.
This one is a little more like that. But in this case, he's just passing on that your former friends in the Seekers have been asking questions about a potentially newly formed way line. And the way line is exactly what it sounds like. It is an area that is more way active than anything around it. It is a channel for way energy to flow through. And it is theorized that a stable way line could eventually become a star lane. It could also do some other stuff too. But the Starsmiths Guild is most interested in that part. The Seekers, on the other hand, are interested in it for just a lot of general reasons. And he knows the general area that it might be found. And he knows that they are very curious. And apparently paying well for information, for usable information about it. Said usable information would require going to the way line and actually investigating it, that kind of thing. So this wouldn't be any sort of money up front thing, but it could be a bargaining chip later.
Right.
And let's see, Coil, do you get off station at any point? Get onto station off ship?
It is possible. Yeah, I mean that's probably going to happen.
Okay.
At some point.
In that case, you unsurprisingly run across a couple of your former scavenging compatriots. And they have that look. They're doing exactly what you expect them to do. They're just looking for stuff.
Yeah. Shopping for parts, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Or seeing if something falls off a ship.
Yeah, well, that too.
Yeah.
It's hard to. That actually is kind of my vice. Also, I'm not going to mechanically indulge my vice per se, but it's a thing that's kind of going on.
Well, you're kind of always doing it, aren't you? But
yeah, it's like, where's the thing? I grab a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just when you indulge that vice, it becomes narratively or mechanically important. That's the thing. Got it. Well, in that case, yeah. And now that I think about it, this may have been during the course of getting the parts to fix the hull. You may have just gotten into this conversation.
Sure.
So actually, this is something that both Coil and Mav end up getting bits of that you kind of have to put together. A lot of weird stuff's been showing up, and by weird stuff, it's like artifact weird has been showing up, coming specifically from the Rin system, the place that you were earlier. First off, that lends some credence to the whole scavenge the newly found crash site thing, because maybe it's coming from there. But yeah, like a higher percentage of artifacts than normal are getting in the mix of the usual junk that you guys have to sift through. And it's not too hard to track where it came from. Speaking of tracking things, Mav, you are hearing similar rumors, though you move in different circles. But you move in the more educated, science-y circles. And as such, you're getting similar information, but it's more from an archaeological point of view. That people are trying to get permission to go through the official routes to mount actual archaeological digs in mostly on Aleph, actually. They are not having an easy time of it because MacLeod just wants to mine the whole area, and doing science down there is going to slow it down. So that's the cool/actionable information you guys get as well.
Immediately, Mav wants to fuck with the MacLeods.
Oh, hell yeah.
She doesn't give two shits about the artifacts at this point. She's just like, oh, they want it? Cool.
Yeah.
Bet.
Yeah, it's actually two things. Yeah, you suspect maybe they want them for themselves. So it's either they're trying to get them, or it's getting in the way of their profits. Either way, I mean, you have a chance to poke them in the eye. So that's a good point. All right, so just to make sure I got this right, Gavesha and Mav each still have one outstanding downtime action, which you are not required to take. Just making sure I have my records right.
I think I also still have one. I only
wait. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'm sorry. Quirk's the only one that spent both, right? Okay.
Yes.
That's right. Okay. So yeah, if you want to do acquire asset, go for it. If you want to or like I said, you can hold it for later. No problem on those. And it just basically becomes a zero stress flashback later if you want to use it for that. And also this gives you a chance to in and or out of character discuss which of the jobs you'd like to hit first.
I think, and I think you're, Brittany, as you said, that Mav is you're holding on to your second downtime action for later. Is that right, or am I? Or did I forget?
I was, but now that we're talking about the weird artifacts, I kind of want to acquire an asset.
Okay.
In case that's something that someone of interest, because obviously, psychiatry and artifact are two very different sciences.
They are. Yeah.
I am a biologist. I cannot do math.
Right.
So I'm in the hopes that we meet someone that could help out with that a little bit more, or know why the MacLeods want this. I would like to hang on to a sample.
Not a problem. Okay. So Do you want to be specific about that now, or do you want to bring it in later when you can like say, now I know exactly what it is? Like either way is fine.
Probably number 2.
Okay.
On that, because I don't really know.
Exactly. Yeah, you can just kind of black box it, and then partway through the thing, when it becomes obvious what you would like to have, you're like, good thing I talked to this person and we have this. And then we work out the details of that and figure out how you got it and what it is. I mean, Gavesha permanently has an artifact, and it's still sort of in that state. So, which is good. I like it that way. And then you're like, oh, it turns out it was a lightsaber the whole time. So, we get... Okay.
Did Zoom drop for everyone else?
Nope.
Just me. All right. Very good. I'm back.
You're back. You're totally back.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. All right. Very good.
But you're now in the GM box, so now you have to take over. That's
no.
Sorry. I'll fix it.
Cool.
All right.
Hey, everybody, I'm the pilot.
Yeah. Actually, right now Alyssa is the pilot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Good thing I took a level in Helm.
Yeah.
Oh, phew. That's
Weird. I don't know what happened there. All right.
And I'm still myself. See, this is the importance of therapy and tending to mental health.
You're centered. You have remained yourself.
That's right.
You will go into the West and remain Brittany.
And I should have switched that first. Yeah, let me do that, and then let me do that, and I'll see if that does it. That almost did it. Not quite. We're getting there. No, we're not. There we are.
We're like a deconstructed Brady Bunch.
Yes, we got it.
All right.
Messy.
I like it.
Just listen to this episode of Dungeons and Daddies.
Oh, man. All right.
Okay.
So does anybody else have anything you want to do before you decide on a job? It sounds like you're leaning towards Aleph in some manner.
I have some questioning I must do.
Okay. Yes. I may have some answering.
That is help. That will be good. So I have to take this apart to sort of figure out how this works, right? Since I'm still sort of basically stumbling along, juggling whilst on a unicycle, in attempting to figure out how things work here. So, but I was looking through things and under advancement and other such things, and I think I'm starting to grasp it, but I just want to make sure. So, so I will first ask about training.
Yes.
So, under where it talks about training, it talks about filling in an XP under either the playbook or the attribute. And so,
right.
I just wanted to check if I train an attribute, does that mean that I actually advance that?
I'm glad you said that, and I apologize. I did leave a thing out. It's not just attributes. It is actually technically also playbook advancement, which is down at the bottom, which is where you put your sort of general XP. So I apologize for that. You can also train just to add one to your playbook advancement. So yes, I'm glad you said that because I forgot to point that out. So if anyone wants to do that, that is also an option.
So I do kind of need to know a thing. Actually, I will hold for in case anyone wants to swap anything out. If anyone before we leave that part of the conversation, but I will.
I'm good.
You okay? All right. Well, the thing that I wanted to know, therefore, is I'm currently looking at. I have no resolve at all.
So maybe you'd like some.
So I'm thinking perhaps it might be good to have some.
Yes, I get that.
If I were to train resolve, would I, upon saying I am using my downtime action to train resolve, would I then immediately put a little mark in this empty box next to it? Or would I have to leave that open until a thing happens that I am unaware of?
No. Like that line of boxes beside the word resolve that is currently empty. Yes, you would put you would use one downtime action to fill one of those boxes.
Okay.
When all of those boxes are full, you can add 1 dot to any of the actions below it.
All right. Is there any time at which we roll these attributes?
Yes, that can happen.
If I were to put a thing in this box that says resolve, would that in any way affect my roll when I click on the word resolve?
It will not.
Okay.
The only thing, so it'll still be a 0 die roll. And I don't know if we've done any 0 die rolls yet, but when you do a 0 die roll in this game, you roll 2 dice and take the lower.
Okay, so
FYI.
my next question
Yeah.
is how do things is training the only way that those boxes get filled in?
It is not. You can also get XP by making a desperate roll in that attribute.
Okay.
So if you make a desperate roll for any of the actions that are part of that attribute, you immediately, whether you succeed or not, you immediately get 1 XP in that, which is why some of you already have some XP in those, because some of you made some desperate rolls.
Okay. And so desperate rolls is basically if we get into a horrible situation and then we do a thing and then a thing. Okay.
Basically, yes. So it's so the 2 ways to increase that are downtime actions and making desperate rolls.
I see. Okay. And I'm not entirely conversant with what desperate rolls are, but I assume they're rolls made in a desperate situation.
That's basically it. Yeah, because you've got controlled, risky, or desperate. Most rolls are going to be risky, otherwise you wouldn't bother trying to find out if you did it.
Okay.
But sometimes you'll be in a situation that's just plain desperate. Other times you can actually, let's say it's a risky roll and you get a really low roll. You get just no successes.
Yeah.
One of the things that can happen in that is, rather than a full-out failure, I can just say, well, now you're in a desperate position, make a new roll. Okay. Meaning you've ended up in a worse position, but you didn't exactly fail. You've still got a chance. So that's another way that desperate rolls can happen.
Is that a thing that can still happen when you have 0 dice?
Yes. Yes. In fact, most 0 die rolls are desperate just by their own. Yeah, because they are less likely to succeed.
Okay. So I think I'm probably going to use this downtime action to train resolve.
Okay.
It occurred to me as I was looking over the downtime actions that there was the only other thing I was thinking about as an option would have been for long-term project. But
right.
I don't know if we're going to be here long enough to do that. So that's kind
actually
of
we can, because we're not going to do a whole lot of sessions, but long-term projects can actually, if the clock's not terribly big, actually, if you look at the sheet, what happens is you start a long-term project, and then while it exists, you can use a downtime action during any downtime session to work on it, and then you make a roll.
Yeah. And that
if you
tells
roll
you how many pipes.
Exactly. So if you crit that, it fills in 5 segments. You can actually, with really good rolls, knock that out pretty fast.
Yeah.
So it is possible. But right now, if you don't really have an idea for a long-term project, you may want to use that for something else.
Well, I have one, but I think what I'm going to do, if I may, is I will go ahead and I will do training on resolve in the hopes that eventually it inches up enough that
and then you can actually have a dot in one of those actions.
Yeah, that might actually have the ability to do a thing.
Gotcha.
Wait, where am I?
That seems like a good plan.
And then, but what I might want to do additionally, not as a downtime action, but as stuff, is to just sort of lay some foundational things narratively for the long-term project, potentially.
Sure.
And it sort of involves, and actually, there's a bunch of stuff that I just conjured up in my head as I was looking through stuff, as I was trying to figure out what kind of project would I have, and I figured it out.
Okay.
But it's hard to explain. and I don't know if there's any way I can actually roll it into the resolve training, but it might involve talking to Greg, and it might involve talking to some of the mechanics, the junkers, a little bit longer about sort of effects of
I think you can make
effects
that
of
work.
artifacts and the whatever it is that we go through.
Yeah.
When we jump using this off-brand map that we have.
Given that resolve is largely people skills, that makes sense. That you could make that easily literally part of your training. You're trying to figure out, how to communicate with the right people and how to get that to happen.
Okay. So basically, and I won't take up too much more time here asking this, and I appreciate everyone's allowing, indulging me here. What I kind of want to do is the long-term project that I'm seeing for him is he's trying to find out more about the circumstances, not the specific. Yeah, how do I put that? He's trying to find out about how this kind. Is there a word for this kind of space that we're talking about that we jump into using these? What is it? What is the thing that we have on our ship? What's that called? The map.
Oh, the jump drive.
Hyperspace.
Yeah.
The hyperspace.
Star lanes.
Star
Yeah.
lanes.
Yeah.
Let me look at the thing real quick because there's a word and my brain's not telling me. Dark hyperspace. There we go.
Oh yeah. Oh, those. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, dark hyperspace lane maps.
Yeah, like the map that your ship has that almost no one else does.
Yes. Here's the thing, right? I suddenly figured out a potential background connection here. In that I think that part of why is they were doing exploring for whatever reason we still haven't figured out the reason. Maybe they're looking for a new home or something.
Mm-hmm.
The ship that he was born on, the ship that he comes from,
mm-hmm.
why the squad that his mother was on disappeared is because they were looking. They might have been looking into stuff in dark hyperspace.
Yep.
Or the potentially dark hyperspace lanes. And so he's kind of trying to figure out. There's some weird bendy physics things.
Yeah.
That he's been trying to figure out, and he's starting to realize, I think, that this ship might help him be able to do that.
Totally.
Yeah, and it's been
if
years.
If it's got a map with that stuff on it, it makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's been, and I do want to say, it's been years, so it's not like he's still searching for his mother.
Sure.
That would be great if that happened, but he's not actually. It's more like he made peace with that a while back, but he's kind of now.
Okay.
Since he's encountering the ship, he's been a little bit like, okay, so I'd like to know how this works. And if there's anybody there. I'd like to figure out if it's possible to survive, to figure out where they went, right? Or where they disappeared to. So that's kind of part of what's going on.
Yeah.
As he's sort of figuring that out. Maybe they were playing with some sort of weird kind of stuff with the ships that they had, the fighter ships that went off,
right?
The scout ships. It's like maybe the scout ships that they were using, like a new thing that they were doing with the drive was like, what was something where it was like, where it like it accesses in some way dark hyperspace or spatial pockets or something.
Yeah,
and
that works. Okay.
Where the physics gets a little bendy, and this is like the first time. Okay, this ship like maybe comes from there or somewhere like it, and knows of it because, or maybe Greg knows something because he was able to put a whole deck there that wasn't there before.
Right.
So they were able to put a whole deck there that wasn't there before. So that's this thing that he's trying to figure out how to break into Untitled Space, as it were.
If at any point, Coil, you happen to discuss any of this with Iris, she might be able to assist you with some of that, since hyperspace lanes come from way lines.
That's
and there
true.
may be some connection.
Well, and I will point out, multiple people can work on a long-term project.
Yeah.
So I mean, it literally gets done faster if multiple people can jump in and
Also, if you're
start those.
looking for people, I can potentially use my visions to help search for people and things.
It's possible. So yeah, definitely. I mean, so this I think is a thing where it's like he probably he went down to deck 14, tried to figure out how to make that happen.
Right.
Yeah.
And if he was able to consistently get to deck 14 using the go here, turn back around method.
It's repeatable, I'll tell you that.
Then he's probably, in conversations with Greg and possibly, he's probably started drawing schematics, trying to figure out some things. Okay, if this correlates to this other place, I don't know where that is yet, so I don't know what to connect this to.
Right.
Then
you've got a map with a lot of gaps in it. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is it's like, okay, then there's a thing going on here that based on how this ship is fueled, from what I can tell, how this interacts with space and how the ship's drive works. And he sort of has been doing that. He's probably been talking to his Junker friends about it, and eventually Gavesh will probably notice that he's doing this.
Yeah,
Iris probably, and so he'll talk. He'll definitely talk to her.
And I expect I have also been spending some time talking with Greg because I have been learning how to pilot this ship.
Oh, that's true.
Yes.
That's a good point. All right, fair enough.
There we go.
Okay, so do we want to take a quick break and then come back and maybe talk jobs?
Yeah.
All right.
Sure. Excellent. All right. We will be back shortly. We go now to break. See you in a little bit.
Thanks.
We have returned. Hello.
Hello, everybody. So what we were talking about? Okay, we were inching towards jobs. So while we're talking about this, if anyone has anything else you want to do that is unresolved from the earlier thing, let me know. But is Gavesha the only one that hasn't used both of her things yet?
Yeah, and it sounds like my second downtime action is going to be assisting Coil with this long-term project.
Would you like to just start the long-term project with your because technically he hasn't mechanically started it yet. So if you want to use yours to initiate it, that'll go ahead and fill in some of the bits. All right, now I need to figure out how many segments that clock's going to be. Is what that means. So I'll work on that. And I'll let you know how many, and then we'll make a roll to. You'll make the roll since it's your downtime action to see how many you initially fill in. So let's see. Let me get over to the jobs again. So out of the ones that you've heard about, just to recap, we've got the possibly newly formed way line, smuggle an artifact out of an archaeological dig that MacLeod wants. Well, actually, smuggle an artifact by sort of creating an unlicensed and completely illegal and dangerous archaeological dig. Deliver weapons and supplies to. I'm just gonna guess you're probably gonna, if you do pick that one eventually, you're probably gonna try to help out Cobalt. And then there's also investigate the wreckage of the recently discovered crashed precursor ship, and deliver a specific thing from it to the Maelstrom. Two of those could sort of be combined.
Yeah, I wonder if they're related, the two on Aleph, between the precursor ship and the artifacts.
They probably are.
I mean, I'm always interested in researching precursor stuff.
So the job would be, the official part of the job that will pay the most would be delivering the thing that the Maelstrom wants. To the Maelstrom. But while you're down there, you could probably find some other really cool stuff.
I'm going to advocate for the Maelstrom job.
All right.
Seconded.
Okay, that sounds like the way it's going to go. Anyone else have any objections to the Maelstrom job?
Is the Maelstrom job the
go to the precursor ship,
ship?
Get specific thing, take to Maelstrom.
Oh yeah, totally.
And possibly maybe some other things that aren't nailed down.
Yeah, and maybe some really cool stuff that no one else has seen because it just got revealed. And that would also give Coil you the chance to get a line on maybe why more stuff's coming out of Aleph.
Yeah.
Though that means if more stuff's coming out of Aleph, that means some people have already been down there and are finding stuff because. You know, what I was going to say? I was going to say it's not going to jump off that planet on its own, but I might be wrong about that. It's not. Chances are it's not going to jump off that planet on its own.
If we happen to catch another sighting of that mysterious life form,
there was that
from last time.
Maybe you want that, and maybe you don't.
Who knows? But I will be keeping an eye out for it, just in case.
So the bits of information that the primary bit of information that you don't have, and someone's going to have to talk to a representative from the Maelstrom about this, is what exactly is it that they want? Because they're being cagey about it until they have someone that is officially on the job. Because otherwise, someone will just go, cool, I'll go get that, and you can't have it. And it is possible to find a representative of the Maelstrom without directly going to where the Maelstrom live. The Maelstrom live in the Maelstrom, if I recall right. Let me double check that. They've called themselves that for a reason. But like I said, you don't have to go to them to get the job. You will have to go to them to deliver the thing. Here we go. Yeah, they hide among a mysterious nebula around Baftoma. And that is in... Let's see. Well, it's in the Ashtari Cloud. You all know where that is, right?
Yeah, just go down the street to where the tree used to be, turn left.
Yep, hang a left, and you can't miss it. All right, let me get over to the other thing. Oh, I know what it's doing. Managed to click on the wrong thing 4 times in a row because I'm good at computers. Here we go. So Baftoma is in the Rin system, which is conveniently enough the same system Aleph is in. So the trip from Aleph to the pirates is not going to require any jumps. The problem is it will require, and this is stuff that you just got, that you know just from knowing about the Maelstrom. The problem is getting to them because they're in a nebula that is famously difficult to navigate. It's kind of one of the things that keeps them hidden and safe.
One would presume that we've got some contact with them.
Yeah, they're your friends. Yeah, you can find them.
I mean, are they known to have agents that, hang out or occupy spots that are not within the dangerous nebula?
Yeah, it is the primary way they do business, in fact. So as we discussed, you're currently in the Iota system. And within Iota, they are most likely to be found probably on... actually, either Indri or Amarath. Amarath is the lush pharmaceuticals planet, and Indri is the polluted manufacturing planet.
Indri is where I'm at. So.
Yeah, they are likely to be found on either of those. And if any of you has any contacts on your character sheet that you think might actually already be members of the Maelstrom, that would work fine. Otherwise, we'll just come up with which of you is the most likely to know them. But again, the good news is, even if you're dealing with a representative that you haven't met before, the Maelstrom as an organization knows who you are as a crew, and that's your in. They actually, you've done good work for them in the past, so they know that opens the door.
I do know a drug dealer.
See, right there, that makes sense. And drug dealers most likely to be on Jungle Pharmaceutical Planet because you want to be close to your source. So we can start there. The drug dealer. We could also state that drug dealer is a Maelstrom contact or Maelstrom rep, and can pass on the information. Let's see. Let me get over to Amarath real quick and make sure I understand what's going on there. So do you want to just go down to Amarath and talk to your friend?
Yeah, that works.
Okay. All right. What's your drug dealer friend's name?
Yakev.
Okay. And what can you tell us about them?
So Yakev, I think, is sort of a Robin Hood type, where he deals, in everything because opportunistic, money, whatever.
Sure.
But the specialty there is really the pharmaceuticals that these big corporations, especially in the Rin system and with the MacLeods, have driven the prices of so high that it's impossible for normal people with actual need to get a hold of them.
Yeah.
So not unlike America.
Yeah. for
So
example.
so so I think Mav uses him almost exclusively. Well, not exclusively, we all know. But she
Right.
says she uses him exclusively for these pharmaceuticals for her patients. But you know, also buys an ounce or two on the side too.
Yeah.
We're all
Okay.
human.
Right. All right. Well, in that case, let's see. Even the cities on Amarath are full of plant life. They it's actually similar to the southeastern United States, which is basically one huge forest. They just cut holes in it for the cities. It's a lot like that, except here the green encroaches far more aggressively into the buildings. Some of the buildings are built with that in mind and incorporate large trees and root systems into the architecture. Some of the other ones are not built with that in mind, and more than one of them every now and then just gets knocked over by a fast-growing plant. Because they're basically just growing up through the foundations. So eventually you learn to work with the jungle rather than against it. So is it just going to be you, or you want to take anyone else from the crew with you to talk about this?
If anybody would like to come.
I'll check it out.
Okay.
Much like you humans, we destroyed all our great forests thousands of years ago.
I want to see what
need to
looks
see
like
more than 3 trees standing together.
Kind of cool. All right. Anyone else, or just those two?
I know that Coyle doesn't entirely still doesn't really trust the Maelstrom too much because of the the first time that he ended up dealing with he and Iris were dealing with the Maelstrom, and we did exactly what they told us to, and that was the problem.
That was the problem.
So it's just like, I think I'd only go if I want to like keep an eye on whoever this is. But
yeah, fair point.
It's so only if like the name rings a bell and it's like, oh crap, not this person again.
Yeah, I don't think this is someone that Coyle has dealt with, because this guy's relationship with the Maelstrom is from a completely different angle.
Yeah.
In fact, he's if anything, he's more of a fixer. I mean, he's a member, but he's if anything, he's more of a fixer than a full-on pirate. Because as Mav said, he's got his fingers in a lot of different pies. All right, so Gavesha, are you doing something else, or are you coming with?
Probably gonna hang around the ship and start working on stuff.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, you do have that actual long-term project I need to get back to you on. So yeah, we'll catch up. I'll catch up with you on that one after this. Okay, so Mav and Quirk. Let's see. Where would you meet your contact? What does he have a place he operates out of?
I think it's different every time, but he leaves a sign, and you kind of have to know what to look for.
Gotcha.
And hope it's not just, kids throwing shoes over a telephone line, or someone that just happens to have a green light in their window, kind of thing.
That's rough. Yeah. All right. So yeah, you follow the clues, and end up in in what on this planet amounts to a park, meaning that it is it's not manicured by any means, but the undergrowth has been cleared back enough where it's only like ankle deep, and there are actual benches and places to sit. Some of which are actually, once again, just tree roots that happen to have grown into a bench-like shape. In other cases, they've actually just been built and stuck here. And you find him standing next to a flower that is with a bloom roughly the size of a human's head. That is mostly stalk, but about, the bloom itself comes up about 7 feet off the ground. In iridescent shades of pink and green. And he's examining it from actually what looks to both of you like from sort of almost a clinical point of view. He has his back to you right now.
I think Mav would announce their presence by saying, and do we know what this one is called?
I don't think they've named it, at least not in any language I can speak.
I'm gonna call it Steve. Hi, Steve.
I think that works. Steve seems happy. So he finally turns around to face you. And he says, how's my favorite shrink?
Larger than life.
So, you're here about that ship thing, I take it?
We are, yes. Just ship business today. And then she looks a little shifty and she goes like, unless...
He gives you the subtlest of nods.
She pulls a cred out of her pocket. She reaches her hand out for the
yeah for the handshake.
And been a long time.
It has been. Drug dealers are expressive people, and he says, pretty straightforward. The people back at HQ were looking for a data core. They saw it, but they didn't see it. A drone saw it, and then the drone was aggressively deactivated before it could return. But fortunately, it was sending back the data.
That is an important detail. Aggressively deactivated by whom or what?
Can't tell. The feed just got cut.
Excellent.
Yeah, and they sent a second drone down, which survived, but it couldn't find any trace of the first one.
Encouraging.
Yeah. But I can give you exactly what you need to look for in this core. Apparently, they just want the core. Anything else is up for grabs. But I don't have to tell you, a lot of other people are poking their noses around there, too.
Any idea who?
Well, Ashen knives, and he spits over his shoulder. For sure. House MacLeod is unofficially looking around.
Ooh, those guys.
But they are... my favorite thing about those guys is that they're bound by their own rules. And even though the governor is MacLeod, they can't officially do what they need to do because... the people people towards the hub are still watching them. If you ask me, MacLeod may not be in charge much longer, but, well, that's just rumors.
I'm very interested in those rumors. If you could just back up a little bit.
I know that there are people actively trying to get them out. Some of those people would be worse, if you see what I mean. But others, well, you know what happens when there's a power vacuum. It's bad for a little while, and then we see how it shakes out.
There's always a bigger fish.
Yeah. But the good news is, they can't just jump down and start taking everything. They have to, catalog it and do whatever else it is that the bean counters are looking for.
Bureaucracy almost always gets in the way of progress, and we're using that to our advantage.
Yeah. So, they'll be there. Don't get me wrong. If they're there directly, that's a whole other issue, but could be a thing. Let's see. Other than that, I mean, on the ground, the Cobalt Syndicate runs things, but they're not. Honestly, they're too busy with their own stuff to try to really make a stab at it. So I wouldn't worry about them getting in your way. And I wouldn't be surprised if Conclave 01 is also doing its thing, because if anybody's going to be interested in the precursor stuff, it's them. They are precursor stuff.
Noted. Well, is there anything else? Also, the standard payments.
Yeah, this one's going to pay pretty well. Look, we like you. We think you're trustworthy. Otherwise, you wouldn't have heard about it in the first place. And if you discover anything else particularly interesting, we'd like to know about it. And other than that, I mean, you've been to Aleph. You know what it's like down there. Bad.
Yeah, not great. Is there a number on Pretty Well? There's just, there's a crew. We've got to split it, all that.
Yeah. And he, the amount he gives you is 8 cred.
Where do you want us to bring it back to?
HQ wants it directly. Once you've got it, I can give you... well, actually, let me rephrase that. You'll have coordinates to meet up once you've got the thing, and then someone can guide you through the maelstrom.
Sounds reasonable.
And
you've got a location, actual location of the ship?
Yeah, we've got a location. Well, if we have a last known location of the memory core, you know how these things go.
Yeah, but the ship itself, it's
not well. I was going to say it's not going anywhere. That ain't really true, is it?
But
it's kind of shifting around with the tectonic plates. But
we've got the location of it. We're not going to need to go looking for it.
You won't have to hunt for it. We can give you last known location of the core, as well as the region that the ship was in. We want to make this as easy for you as possible, because we know once you're down there, it ain't going to be.
That's coincidental, because we want it to be as easy as possible as well. So that works for both of us.
Yeah, I mean, spending money to get people killed is bad for business. I mean, spending money to get people you like killed. Guess another thing's just assassination.
I mean, that's a business in and of itself, isn't it?
Yeah. Which I am not into.
Somehow.
I am a humble drug dealer.
All
Never
right,
know where the
so-
career's going to take you.
So it looks like we have the information that we need. Is there anything else that you would say we need to know?
Nothing that I'm aware of. I wish I could spell out the variables for you, but shit's changing there every day. For what it's worth, Steve wishes you luck.
Thanks, Steve.
He's a good guy.
That's comforting somehow.
I mean, I guess. I was doing a bit, but all right.
All right. Well, if
Crazy
that's
meat
all.
creatures.
Yeah, right. So yeah, unless you have anything else, it is apparently that straightforward. It's just the biggest problem is, it's a hell planet. There's your issue. It's a hell planet, and a lot of other people are going to be also sneaking around trying to get stuff.
We'll be very careful.
Indeed. And what we can do now, obviously you want to do maybe a little bit of discussion both in and out of character. And we will also, Gavesha, we'll get to the beginning of your long-term project. And then let's see, we've got enough time to definitely do the engagement roll once you figure out what your approach is. And I'll go through the list on that in a minute once we get the long-term project started. And then maybe we've got enough time to start the job. We'll see where we end up at the end of all the rest of this and how everybody's feeling. All right. So first thing is I'm going to do that thing I said I was going to do and figure out how many segments to make that clock. Let's see. That feels like a 6-segment clock to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these clocks right here, copy it, haha, I pasted it and everything. All right, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to call it, what do we want to call this? What should we refer to as, what do we want to call the long-term project that you guys are working on? Dark hyperspace investigation?
Yeah. That'd be good.
All right.
Yeah. I'm just sort of imagining this thing where it's like, I've got because Yavesh is kicking the project off. I feel like it's like there's this discussion where I'm like, well, okay, it's sort of showing these schematics where there's like blank spaces, and of stuff that I'm sort of, and it's kind of like part of it's sort of just like a hypothetical. I'm just sort of trying to draw out a hypothetical construct to figure out kind of how this works, and like sort of using the ship, and I'm sort of imagining that it's this moment where it's like, so in theory there would be like some sort of thing in whatever, the place I don't have a title for this yet, but this thing is sort of saying, and where Gavesha sort of confirms, no, this isn't theoretical. This is a thing that exists.
Yes. Oh, by the way,
Untitled long-term project.
Yeah.
Untitled long-term project.
Way to stick with the bit. Thank you. All right. Okay. So, if you will now notice, I have stuck a thing called Dark Hyperspace Investigation on the sheet. It's just under the payoff and upkeep.
On the start answer sheet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, no. On the big page.
On the left-hand side of the big page.
Yeah, the Procyon sector page.
I got it.
See it? Okay, so now, since Gavesha is the one starting this thing, Let me make sure I understand exactly what we're doing. I think this is a fortune roll. And I'm just checking to see, though, if you get any bonuses on this. So let's check that real quick. See what the deal is. No one will be seated during the exciting looking stuff up scene. All right. Here we go. Sorry about that. Okay. Downtime. All right. So, long-term project. Oh, no, you actually get to roll an action for this. That's even better. Okay. All right. So, I'm glad I checked. All right. So, what action would you like to roll, and in what does that mean for what you're doing?
Well, since we are sort of investigating strange quantum phenomenon on board this strange precursor ship, if I could roll a tune.
Yeah.
I would love to do that.
A tune just makes sense. So, no problem. All right. So, your tune is currently 2. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's see. I think it might just be in a tune roll, because I can't think of anything else right now that's going to... Oh, unless... Well, actually, since it's an action roll, let's just go through the regular stuff to see if anything else applies.
Okay.
Because you might have some other things you could apply to it. For example, if you could use your existing artifact in some way to help you, that might not be a bad idea. And I need to... This is going to be... See, the thing is, it's almost a fortune roll. But it's also... No, you know what? There is some risk to it, because the way that you're investigating this could lead to some weird stuff, literally weird stuff, in this case. So hang tight. Let me look this up and we'll... All right. So I am actually going to make this, oddly enough, this is going to be a risky roll.
Okay.
Because things could happen. Now, whatever happens, the worst result as far as filling in spots is going to be 1. Because if you roll like a 1, you'll still fill in at least one slot. Oh, a couple of other things, though, that you can do to add dice. You could get assistance from one of your teammates. You can push yourself, which is taking 2 stress. And you could accept the devil's bargain, which is... you could even use a gambit for it. I'm not sure you want to do that right now, but you could. And the devil's bargain is you get an extra die if you accept that a thing happens, and then whether you succeed or not, the thing still happens. And if you want to go that route, we'll come up with something.
Okay.
But also, I mean, you know, the most obvious one to me seems like Coil helping you, because you were both working on this.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
So right now, that would give you, at its base, you've got 2 for that and 1 for the assist from Coil.
Okay.
So 3 dice is pretty good.
Do I need to mark stress? Is that what
You don't. You don't.
Oh, okay.
Actually, no, I'm sorry, you do. You will mark 1 stress for the assist. You're right. You'll mark 1 stress for the assist, and then if anything bad happens, you'll just... You'll share in the bad thing. Yay! Is really what it boils down to.
Sorry, Coil.
I'm imagining what are you doing to
Oh.
What are you doing?
Well,
what are you doing?
What are you doing?
So we I imagine we go to the spot to get to deck 14 or what have you, and then I take my precursor artifact that I always carry with me. It's this little chip of a mysterious alloy, it's sewn onto my headband, and I use it as my focus for my attune rolls, basically. It's my mystical focus. And I just sort of concentrate on that and these nebulous blank spaces on this map that you're creating.
I think I'm probably just sort of I've got the map up and sort of doing it. Maybe we have a little hologrammatic projection if we are that advanced. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But then I'm doing this thing where I'm constantly taking readings depending on positioning and how we're doing this to try to sort of help to sort of like, okay, now we need to.
You're taking the science-y readings and I'm taking the
Yeah.
magic-y readings.
Yes.
And we're going to put them together.
Excellent.
All right. So in that case, just roll a tune plus 1 bonus die. And it'll be risky standard when it asks you those questions.
Yep.
All right. So let's see. Yeah, not great, but not the worst. So, all that means is a thing happens. But let me look up specifically what that means for the clock, and then I'll explain to you what the rest of this is. All right. So let's get over here.
Magic 8 Ball says outlook unclear.
Outlook. I know. Stupid 8 Ball. All right. So you only fill in one segment. And I'll get that filled in over here. So what that means is, first off, just from a narrative point of view, it's literally just more difficult than you expected it to be.
Yeah.
So, okay, and now if you look at it, we've got one segment filled in on dark hyperspace investigation.
This is the first time we're undertaking such a project, so I may be disappointed but not surprised.
And the risk is not that anything immediately bad happens to you, but because you are a person that has visions and you are regularly envisioning or viewing things that are far away, you also have a very acute sense of when it's going the other direction.
Mm-hmm.
And something noticed you.
Okay.
Something now knows that you can detect it, and it's very far away, and it's hidden in the dark hyperspace lanes.
That sounds nice and comforting.
Maybe it wants to be your friend.
Yes, I'm sure.
When you stare into the void.
It just wants to give you space hugs.
Do we get an indication of this, or is that is that
Gavesha
just something
does.
that we know outside of the?
No, Gavesha full on knows that that's what's happening.
Okay.
So probably what Coyle sees is I push the headband back, cut off the connection with whatever it is, just in case. And I say, well, I found something. That's the good news. The bad news is it saw me too.
I just kind of imagine I'm supposed to also share in this fate to an extent, yes?
Well, yeah, but I mean, you know.
So,
well, now that you also know this information, you have shared in the fate.
Okay.
But
I'm just wondering if it's like something comes up in my reading, like there's an eye opens or something on my screen. It's like, what the hell?
Okay, actually,
on the image or something.
Did I accidentally fry your device?
Now, fortunately, it's not that bad, but I will tell you what happens. Because you filled in one segment, it means you got actual information. So you've added to your diagram.
Well, so we filled in the map a little bit.
Yeah, you totally did. But the thing is, one of the things that you filled in is not what you expected. Okay, one of the things that you filled in it looks like a living creature is there rather than some sort of astronomical object.
Oh dear. Okay. So
Yeah,
sort of
these
like
are the
connecting
readings you're getting.
the thing to thing. It's like, wait a minute. Okay, so it's that. No, something that size. That was. I thought that was a lane that we kind of moved.
One of the reasons, in fact, you do get some information. One of the reasons that your calculations weren't working is because you were assuming inanimate objects.
Yes.
You were assuming non-living things.
It's like this thing that I thought was a side shunt off of a space lane is moving. That's not good.
Alive?
That's very not good. Here's the thing. I thought this is a thing ships fly through. Do you have any idea how big this has to be?
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
I have an inkling.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's
I
great to know.
got some idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's
Get a
wonderful.
vague impression.
Maybe space doesn't.
I get a vibe.
Oh, we know space doesn't work the same way over there. Maybe the scale is off. Man, I hope the scale is off. That would be great if the scale were off. That would be excellent.
This is one of those times when you would really like your calculations to be wrong.
Smaller on the outside.
This is one of those times that you want to have missed a variable.
I think
all right.
I'm gonna feed these into Greg and see if they think that my.
The first thing Greg says is,
off.
"Wow, what is that?"
I don't know. We thought maybe you might know.
This is literally the first time you've heard Greg sound indecisive. No, but I will find out.
This is kind of the sort of area. Is this the same area we tap into when we go to Deck 14?
Oh, I think it might be.
I'm gonna go get the jammer out of there. I think I'm just actually turning and saying this to her. I'm gonna get the jammer just in case we need it later, because I don't want to. Yeah. Let's work on getting that out of there and move that somewhere else.
But then what will we use the jammer compartment for?
I think we should keep an eye on the jammer compartment. Probably.
I always do that, metaphorically.
But yes,
I don't have eyes.
Metaphorically. It's now kind of a testing area. Yeah.
Oh, like a laboratory.
Of sorts, more sort of the the part where you look into a running experiment, but you don't go inside the experiment because you're separated from it by nice, thick, several feet of steel and hard glass.
I am several feet of steel.
Oh yeah, there you go. Then you understand this metaphor. Because I think that's the metaphor we should be going with for this.
Safety first, then.
Right. We're observing the compartment.
So I should do what with these data?
Oh yeah, I just want to make sure my calculations aren't off because I just want to make sure that this is right. And this is where we think that is, and sort of, yeah.
Yes, you're very good at math.
Thanks. I'm so glad. Yeah. And it just sort of turns to Iris. Yeah, always good at math. That's why they put me on loadouts. Back in the day, yeah, started doing loadouts when I was like 6. Started helping out with those. That was. Yeah.
That explains your aptitude for spatial relations as well.
I love that you're calling it an aptitude. Great. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm good. I'm gonna go get the thing now and move it and hope that we can. Yeah. Yeah. Good. This is a great project. I'm glad we're doing it.
Fun times.
I'll go back to the diagnostic now.
Maybe it was safer working with Arlo.
All right, so around this time, I suspect Quirk and Mav have returned from Planet Steve.
Hey guys, looks like we're heading off to Aleph. Could be just a quick jump through the dark hyperspace lanes. No problem.
Great.
I'm so glad we have this resource.
All right.
Yeah.
Pretty safe so far.
It's
I'm sure it'll be fine.
I just feel so much more safe and secure using these than using the more populated
They're-
lanes.
I know these are nice, empty, really
so-
quick to drive. No traffic.
Hey,
As-
Did we
just
say safe?
there are a couple of lanes we might want to just kind of steer clear of for a bit, where we're just sort of looking. We can use the other dark hyperspace lanes probably, because we don't know. But yeah, they're just a couple of I've updated the map, folks. I just wanted to let you see the updated map. I'm going to send you the updated map, and everything's going to be fine. I just want to stress that everything's going to be just fine.
I just spell wormhole with a Y.
So what I'm
Well-
hearing is that you are saying everything is going to be fine, and Mav has lapsed into like therapist voice. You can tell because she started a sentence with "I am hearing." But I don't quite feel that your words reflect your feelings.
Oh, you're. I feel as though that perhaps you've noticed a thing, and that you're very perceptive. You're very good. You're very good at what you do. I'm very glad that you're here with us. I feel as though we're going to need your skill set many times very soon.
I appreciate that you answered with an "I feel" statement. However, I did not get an answer to my question. And that makes me feel uneasy.
I mean, okay, so like, how do you feel about
That's my
just
question.
just like just out of curiosity, how do you feel about the idea of very large beasts existing in hyperspace?
Well, I feel that I am yet to, at least personally, meet any beast, large or otherwise, that is more fearsome than the sentient psyche.
Okay. So, on that map where we've got that spot I marked wormhole with a Y?
Yes, wormhole with a Y, I remember that.
Yes. I feel as though we probably just, if we don't like the idea of meeting very large hyperspace beasts, we probably shouldn't use that particular lane.
So it's less of a wormhole and more of a hole of worms.
Well, at least one. Yeah.
It's a whole worm, all right.
Yeah.
Wait,
Don't
what?
know if it's actually a worm. I just sort of, you hear like legends of space dragons and crap. So I kind of was, just didn't know what else to call it. I have no idea what shape the thing is.
So
But
what happens
yeah,
when you
that
name an
shunt
astrological concept after some kind of creature?
That's fair. I mean, that's fair.
We
I
call
mean-
them spatial go-fastamajigs in our language to avoid this kind of manifestations.
Our worship day schools were full of legends about dragons, so that sort of stuck. But no, but basically, yeah. So that thing that looks like a shunt on that's not actually a shunt off of that's a thing. That's a possibly living thing. It moves.
All right, so standard hyperspace lanes it is then.
I mean, it's not the whole map. It's just that part of the map.
Oh, right? Yeah, that's where you found them. Not, Yeah. What you're saying is we haven't found any yet in the other spots.
Yeah, that's just the one we know about.
Okay,
correct.
Well, yes, so standard hyperlanes it is.
Very hyperspace is big, so I mean, this is still very useful, but I just...
Oh, wait, yeah, I didn't see the scale. Holy crow!
It's a little
big.
It's a little big.
So, there be monsters.
This is two mysterious creatures I've discovered in as many weeks, and I haven't gotten to figure out what either of them are. Aren't you excited?
That is weird, given how long this sector's been settled.
And now I am unsettled.
Points to you, Doc.
If it's any comfort, Greg has confirmed that my math is right.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so glad that your math is right.
Yeah.
Is math right on the size of the creature, or is
be
this
one of us? Yeah, that's kind of why I had them. I was really hoping the scale was off. And I mean, we still haven't seen. We don't know enough to know for sure, right? But yeah, it's just I'd kind of just like I'm saying, if we want to use the dark hyperspace, I think we'd be better served keeping to more stuff on the lanes on the sort of middle and left of the map rather than the right side of the map where there be dragons apparently or something.
So you want us to travel the left-hand path, is what you're saying?
I mean, I was always rather called a corrupting influence from time to time growing up. So I mean,
does that mean a thing? Wait,
what? Not.
A weird answer for a simple question about geography. All right, well, fine.
Well, they're all roads less traveled by anyways. So.
Wait a minute. Do your folks have a different meaning for the word sinister, by the way?
Well, I mean, we don't have that word in my language. Oh. Well, that's not true. We do, but it means a very specific kind of rock found in the third geographic strata of some ocean beds. It just happens to sound like your word for left hand. Yeah. And also creepy.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. So, I mean, as long as, I figure, if you need to sort of imagine something, I guess you can imagine if we go through the hyperspace lanes, if we need to, the dark hyperspace lanes. Imagine we're looking up some of those rocks. I think that's probably the best way to think about it, maybe.
And I hope not. Spaceships should not go through that kind of geographical strata.
Doing a little.
Hey, that ship we're going to look for is probably in some geographical strata, though. Yeah. So.
No, that's true. Yeah. So I mean, there's a connection there.
I'm gonna go to the cockpit. I'm going to take some extra time to chart a nice, safe route through known hyperspace lanes. You all get me on the comms when you're all strapped in and ready to go.
I'm gonna set the navigational points very carefully.
I'm gonna triple check my work.
Gotcha.
Not ask Greg for help. Gotcha. All right. Where's my slide rule and my compass? Here they are. Very good. Old-fashioned way. Could take some time.
Well, this one doesn't have a deadline, so...
That's true. All right. So we are closing in on the official end of the session. So this is perfect. This will give us enough time to come up with the approach and make the engagement roll, and then we could start next session with the job, if that works for everybody. So, as a reminder, there are 6 possible approaches. Some of them make a lot more sense than others in this case, but technically, I suppose you could make an argument for any of them. But also, if you have any other questions about just the general idea of what's going on, I will tell you, House Malclaith has patrols in orbit, but they very rarely set down on the surface of the planet. They do a daily pickup of the ore that's been mined, and you guys have already taken advantage of that. That was how you snuck into that other platform to get the thing that you did for your last job. So you already know that there are holes in the both in the patrol and in the schedule. The Cobalt Syndicate is all over the place on the surface, but good news is they are pretty much your friends, but could be a source of assistance in this if you're wanting to add that to your approach. And then the planet itself is extraordinarily hostile to any of the living beings currently crewing this ship anyway. Not even your Xeno can breathe down there. And if you are going to be out of the ship at any point, which you probably will, since you're going to be like literally trying to get a data core out of this thing, you will need suits, but you have suits, so that's not like you don't have to. Suits exist for Aleph because a lot of people are messing around on Aleph. Also, you could come up with any reason that you have those. Being friends with the Cobalt Syndicate is a really good reason to have those suits because they literally manufacture those suits, manufacture and maintain. So I just wanted to throw that out there. If you have any other questions or any other things that might help you, let me know. And if you want, I'll run down the 6 possible approaches. If you have the rule book, they're on page 148. There is assault, which is do violence to a target. Deception, which is exactly what it sounds like, lure, trick, or manipulate. Infiltration, to trespass unseen. Mystic, which is engage a mystic way or power. Is another word for the progenitors. There is social, which is negotiate, bargain, or persuade. And then there's transport, which is carry cargo or people through danger. But keep in mind, this is the approach. You'll definitely be transporting something out. But if any of those jump out at you as a way to basically just get things started, what are your thoughts on those?
Could Gavesha or someone else trained in attunement use their connection to the progenitors through the way to locate the ship, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah, that is possible.
I mean, I don't have any attune, so.
but you know some people who do.
I do. I know. Okay, we got a weird ship and a crew person with crazy psychic powers. So.
That's true. You know at least one person with attune.
Yes.
Although I think does Mav have one dot in attune? Am I remembering that right? Or am I may be confusing that.
I have one dot.
I thought I remembered that, so that's good to know too. That is useful. All right, so yeah, there's that's on the table. Is using Gavesha leading a way approach or a mystic approach.
Yeah. I've done it before.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
It worked spectacularly that time.
Given the monster population, too, on this planet, it might be.
Could be some monsters, yeah.
Well, we saw one.
Yeah. Yeah, the only other things I'm thinking is, it could be mystic or it could be infiltration, maybe, if we're trying to get past these...
If you're trying to be particularly sneaky.
Unseen, yeah.
Well, that's a good point, and you have stuff to help you with that, too.
Yeah. I was trying to think about transport as a possibility, but that's just more what we're going to do anyway. So. Yeah,
exactly. I'm having trouble coming up with a transport approach. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm having trouble piecing that one together.
But I'd be happy with that.
There it is. Let's fly down there.
If we want to do that.
Exactly.
If we're feeling more that, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no.
I was just saying, if we're feeling more the mystic solution, I'd totally lean into that. I'm
Okay.
good either way.
I like the mystic approach.
Okay, so explain how that looks and exactly what you're doing to kick things off.
So I'm gonna study all the information that we've been given about this ship, and
Oh yeah,
I'm
and you do
gonna
have a fair
try
amount. Yeah.
to get a lock on it and make sure it is where it's supposed to be.
Okay. All right, that checks out. So in that case, and that's pretty straightforward. And you probably don't want to get too complicated with this. I think you might be in a good position there. All right. So first, I have some questions to ask you about. So for the engagement roll, we start out with just one die for sheer luck. Let's see. I'll give you another die because you actually have you're being assisted by the Maelstrom themselves. They've given you a decent amount of information on this. So that covers can any of your friends or contacts provide aid or insight for this operation? Yes, they can. So you've got 1D on that. Currently, no enemies or rivals are interfering in the operation. Not directly. So that's fine. You don't get a -1. So the next questions are, is this operation particularly bold or daring?
I don't know. I mean, we are going down to a dangerous planet.
So we're thinking yes on that one?
Yeah, I mean, especially given that something may be watching us now, as if we're every time we use
Yeah,
That's
fair enough.
true.
mystic abilities.
Oh, well, okay. Yeah, you're not wrong. Okay, so that's all right. So that's we're up to 3 dice. Is this operation overly complex or contingent on many factors? I think it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I mean, it's pretty straightforward for me.
Well, honestly, for all of you, it is literally at its core.
Yeah.
Fly down there, get the thing, fly back. You're not going nuts with the details on this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, even if I don't get a mystic lock on the location of the ship, we have coordinates to fly to. So
yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're just trying to get more information and make it more accurate. Yeah. So good point. All right. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and answer the next one because neither of these is true. It doesn't expose the vulnerability of the target or hit them where they're weakest. That's not in this case. And by the same token, they are also not strongest against this approach because this is really, you're going up against House Malclaith more than anything here. And they are not particularly strong against mystic approaches, which is what you've chosen. So you're good to go on that. And then nothing else checks out. Okay, that's going to be a 3-die roll. Okay. So it'll be a fortune roll. So and as we discovered last time, you just put 3 dice in for the fortune roll because it doesn't start assuming any dice this time. All right, let's see what we got. Okay, that's a 4, which is actually pretty good. So what that means is that has put you, you're starting off in a risky position. Which the good news about engagement rolls is it's good news and bad news. It doesn't really give you a huge indication on how the rest of the job goes. It just tells you how it starts. So even if you'd ended up in a particularly desperate situation, then we just see how you get out of it. But in this case, honestly, it just kind of stands to reason that it's risky. So first off, I will tell you. Actually, let me rephrase that. tell me exactly what what information you were trying to get, because that's going to work. And then I will tell you why it's risky.
Okay. So I think just kind of like last time, we have kind of a general location for it already. So I'm just kind of trying to expand on that and look for any potential hidden threats or anything in the area.
Yes, you do. In fact, you find, first off, you're able to zero in on the actual memory core much easier, in a much stronger than you expected to. The good news is also the bad news here. The reason that you were able to is because it is extraordinarily way sensitive. Whatever that memory core is, it is also, like, the reason you were able to find it is because it's like you were looking for a candle, but it's glowing like a bonfire because you look for it with the way.
Okay. Of course,
But that
is.
means
This is a precursor ship.
Yeah, and basically that means anyone else with any way sensitivity that's looking your way, once you have this, will know you have it.
Okay.
It's going to make a lot of mystic noise.
So I might want to start thinking about ways to camouflage us after we have it.
Gotcha. And so we'll go ahead and wrap up the role-playing part of this for now. But I will tell you, we will begin the next session with you already on the planet, and whichever of you wish to be off the ship and doing the thing, and we'll discuss wherever. Yeah, exactly. We'll discuss where everything else is and where the rest of you are at the beginning of next session, because this was basically your way. Oh, the other thing it did for you, though, is it gave you, more to the point, gave you something to tell Quirk. Just literally go here. This is the best place to go. And your ship is small enough to land on a planet if you want to do it that way. And the ship will not be harmed by the atmosphere on Aleph. Not okay. Long term, maybe, because it is a caustic atmosphere. But it would be extraordinarily long term.
Yeah, with our hull, we're good.
Yeah. Oh, but that's a good point. No, yeah, you're right. Your hull is 4. You're fine.
We're not going to be there that long.
You're fine for quite a while. So if you want to land, you can. If you want to stay in orbit, you can. We'll discuss that next session. But just wanted to let you know how we'll begin next time. And with that, that's it for everything tonight. And thanks a lot. That was productive.
Yay! Awesome. That was fun. It was very cool. Very cool. Very glad to see this. To see sort of where we're headed at this point, and it's this is gonna be very interesting. This is gonna be very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. First job was practically a milk run. This one might not be so much.
Here. Let's plunge directly toward the scarier stuff. That was fun.
Yeah, and while we're at it, let's go to the planet that wants to kill us.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Awesome. Excellent. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and go around and do our outros. And sort of just feel free to tell folks where they can find you, make any plugs you want to make, and any impression. Any other impressions you want to give, final thoughts about this session, or favorite moments, or what have you? And we shall start once more with our GM, Brian.
Thanks a lot, everybody. Thanks to all of you for playing, and thanks to all of you for watching. I'm Brian Cooksey, he, him. I am half of the hosts of the Armor Goes Clank podcast, and I'm on Twitter as Veclam, and you can find that over in the chat here on Twitch. And yeah, I'm having fun, and I'm really, really excited to see where this goes next time.
Me too. Me too. Awesome. Awesome. And now let us head over to Josh.
I'm Josh Burnett, he, him. I'm Bernie the Flump on all the things. I'm really enjoying this so far, and I'm excited to go into some space archaeology stuff next, with maybe some space magic on top of it. Yeah, if you like cool things that are nice, you can check out like friend Leighton Connor's game Laser Ponies, which second edition just came out a couple weeks ago. I did some of the art, all the maps, and all the layout for it. And that's available at RPG Now and other places. Drive-thru RPG. RPG Now doesn't exist anymore. Never mind.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Right.
I hear good things about Laser Ponies.
It's very fun. It's delightful.
Awesome.
There are ponies that shoot lasers out of their eyes to fight monsters.
I mean, yeah.
What more do you need? What more do you need? Excellent. Let's head over to Brittany.
I'm Brittany, she, her. You can find me on Twitter at thatdamndruid or here on Twitch at thatdangdruid because censorship. I'm currently running on Sundays giving simplified biology lessons while I get my ass kicked on Biomutant. So if that's your thing, you can find me there. Yeah.
Did you have any were there any final thoughts you wanted to give about the session, or are we good?
Oh, that's right, ADD. Yeah, this was very interesting. I am not so happy about the hole of worms, and the can of worms that could open.
This is fair. Excellent.
Worms with a Y.
Nicely done.
Yeah, sometimes there are worms. Yeah, it's hard to say. They're just there. Now let us go over to Alyssa.
Yeah, I'm Alyssa. You could find me on Twitch and Twitter at Shawltails. I have all my links on my Twitter page. I make crafty things like this, and you can buy them if you like. This is the only TTRPG thing I have going on at the moment, and I am very excited about the can of worms that we might open. Although I hope it's not brain worms like the last campaign I was in. We've had enough of those. But yeah, I'm very excited to find this precursor ship and all the cool stuff that we can get our hands on.
Me too. Very, very interested in that. Awesome. Okay. So that leaves me, I guess. Who am I? I'm Jim. You can find me at OtherDoc on both Twitch and Twitter. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. I have links down below here to my website, Twitter, YouTube channel, and various other things. I also just have to say, the thing that tonight, also just as far as just thinking back, that I loved how just both Josh and Brittany just immediately picked up on the worm thing just coming in, and just started in with so glad we have such a safe passageway through the dark hyperspace. Man, that was so good. That was just so good. I love playing with you folks.
Outstanding.
I just love that I just have to say, I just love that I am in a group that with anybody, with them, with Alyssa, with Brian, I can just sort of toss a ball and have it immediately batted back. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. I love having that kind of thing. But let me see here. Things that are happening here. So, all right. So, announcement. I've kind of made this announcement on the gaming streams. that I've done, but just as a reminder to folks who have seen those, or as a new thing. So on this channel, on Saturday, we shall have the return of our Invisible Sun campaign, The Edge of Paradox. I'm going to dive in and try to pick up where we left off. I expect a lot of this first session back to be us trying to remember how everything works, and what was happening, and what things connect to what other things. There was a massive amount of stuff that was generated in the first part of the game, in the first phase, the first book, the first whatever of the game. I'm now going to try to sit down and piece together the road to the end. And so that involves gathering up a lot of things that are flying all over the place conceptually, and which I must figure out how all that works together, and probably not going to have it done immediately for this first session, but we'll get there. But very excited to get back to that and back to play with those folks and see where we are and what we're doing. We found the endless party again, and at the end, and now we have to deal with that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Then on Tuesday, I have a sort of a premiere coming up for a short thing. While Urban Shadows is on hiatus, I can't talk anymore. Hiatus. Whilst Urban Shadows is on hiatus, we're going to do a playtest, a short campaign playtest of a game that I've written called Genesis Undone. I have run it on this channel before. I did a one-shot a while back when I was doing one-shots on Sundays of it, and that's how I found out that this game does not work as a one-shot. Essentially, there's too much of it. I don't know, maybe it could if you spend long enough, but we didn't have enough time to get through a plot. So it's going to be kind of a little mini campaign. Won't be very long. So just during the hiatus, and then after we're done with that, we'll be back to Urban Shadows. But that's going to be happening Tuesday night, I think later than usual. I think it's like at 9 p.m. or something along those lines, Eastern. But there'll be various announcements about that as we roll forward. But we're going to do that. And try it out. It's a game that's it's a GM-less story game that uses tarot cards, and it tells the story of the dawn of a fantasy civilization as though it were a sort of Greek tragedy, Greek tragedy, Shakespearean tragedy type deal, so we'll sort of see how that goes. I'm very much looking forward to it, and then of course back around to Wednesday when we shall have more of this. If we're all available this coming Wednesday, we'll have to make sure of that. But it's going to be on either this coming Wednesday or the Wednesday after, depending on how that goes. So very much looking forward to that. Also, I still have that other thing that I talked about last time that I couldn't say what it was. I still can't say what it is, but it's getting closer. That's all I'm going to say. Or I will make a guest appearance on a thing, and it will probably be on a Friday. That's still happening, probably. Just gonna be maybe a couple weeks. I don't know. We'll see. Things change. The situation changed. It was supposed to be sooner than now, but then life happened, and so we shall see. We shall see how it goes. I promise you, there is a thing. This is not something I'm making up. I will actually say what it is once I'm able to. But in any case, I think when we hit the end card, I'm going to send a raid over to somebody. There are a few places that are doing things right now that I'm thinking about going over and say hi. Lore Explorers is on, possibly, maybe them, maybe Cantrip Cast. Cypher Unlimited is about to do something. But they're still on their holding pattern screen, so hopefully we'll be getting in there. So we probably will be rating them, I think, because I haven't talked to those folks in a little while. I should probably go give them some love. So feel free to hang on if you're so inclined and say hi to them with us. That again will be when we hit the end card. In the meantime, folks, thank you all very much for watching. Take care, and we will catch you next time. Farewell.